Hey kids, Rex here. Hey, today's reflection question is going to ask, have you ever had the opportunity to take your kid to work day with your folks? If not, that's okay. You're going to reflect on what would be a cool job to check out. Remember, 2 to 3 thoughtful sessions. Thanks. See you later. Whoa. Hey, good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching the video. Thanks, Rex. Don't forget, after you watch the video, my read aloud, I'll read aloud, go to Rex reflection question for day one. And be thoughtful. I know I'm going to talk a little bit about some Schoology issues and access to that and how to do it in a little bit. All right, welcome back to school. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I'm actually recording this on Friday. And if you remember Friday, it's 27 degrees out currently. And it's still snowing. So it's April 3rd. You're watching this April 5th or the 6th. And 27 degrees. There's snow out on the grass right now. All right, we've got four things on our agenda today. One, I'm going to do a quick review of the distance learning schedule. If this is the first video you've seen since distance learning, that'll be good for you to see and understand what you can expect, when to expect it, and what kind of content your teachers are producing. Two, I'm going to review a new document I put into our distance learning folder. It's called Mr. Ermer's Contact Information. I'll go over what's in there and how to get a hold of me. And then three, I've got some information about Schoology updates, what's going on, the issues we fielded as teachers, we've heard from our advisory. I know I called all of my advisory students. I've spoken to a lot of parents and students even, and we're aware of your issues. So I'll talk about some updates with Schoology. And then our fourth thing is we're going to listen to a song. I've been in isolation in my offsite studio and mostly alone, and I've had the opportunity for a lot of personal reflection in this isolation, this time for social distancing, and it's got me thinking about something I'm going to share with you, and we'll be playing a song on wax, on a record, as it's called. Records were made of wax, and that's why it's called On Wax. You've probably heard that before. All right, first one, let's review our distance learning schedule. Today is Monday. It's an A day. Tomorrow is going to be Tuesday. It's a B day. We don't have school Friday this week. So on Wednesday, you're not going to have advisory check-ins. So what that means is your Thursday and Friday schedules are going to be moved up to here. So it'll be an A day, B day, A day here on Wednesday, and then B day on Thursday. No school Friday, yay. All right, so just as a reminder, looking at what kind of content is being produced by your teachers, on Monday, you're just working with your 1, 2, 3, 4 hour classes. Tuesday, you do your 5, 6, 7, 8 hour classes. And so Monday and Tuesday, you only have one piece of content from those teachers. On Wednesday, your advisory teachers are going to be calling you when we talk to your folks and your parents and guardians about what's the best way of having conversations with you directly. This week, we don't have that because there's no school Friday. Thursdays and Fridays, you have A day and B day again. So just remember, there's just 2 days of content from your teachers. So don't look and expect content from science, math every single day. You're just going to be getting content twice a week. All right, that's our distance learning schedule. 2, review contact information. So again, once you open the distance learning folder, in there you'll see a document titled Mr. Ermer's Contact Information. I give different ways and expectations of how to contact me. I have found that my work email it's never failed. Other methods have failed. The phone number the district gave me, it's not working through my computer. So I've been giving families my cell phone, and that's fine. If you want to send me an email, though, we are online at our computers all day long. We're not giving instruction like we usually do at a school. We're at our apartments, we're at our homes, and we are waiting for you to interact with our content and then message us. So that is my job. I've had students express that they're afraid to contact us teachers. They don't want to bother us. That's our job. So please bother us. It's not bother. It's not a bother at all. I know all the teachers I've spoken with have enjoyed speaking with you, hearing your voices, joking around, and just seeing how things have been going for you and sharing our own experiences during this very trying time. So check out that document. My work email is the best way to contact me. If you want to have a conversation, you want to reach out, I love those phone calls. Just send me an email and say, hey, Mr. Ermer, can we talk? And I'll send you my cell phone and we can chat as long as that's okay with your folks and the people at home. So just check in with them. All right. There's that contact document. It'll stay up the remainder of distance learning. 3, Schoology updates. So 1, I'm just going to tell you, 95% of the time, if you're struggling with Schoology or any other device-related issue, restart your devices. So please just go ahead and do that. I would say start getting in the habit of doing that once or twice a week even, since you're going to be using them so much more frequently than you have been. Get in the habit of restarting your devices. That generally fixes any glitches that your devices are having while they interface with the internet and those softwares out there on the cloud. Restart your devices. 2, I've had students complaining, hey, I can't submit, or I don't know what it's looking like when I do access this. Well, when the assignment that you're going to be doing most regularly are Rex's reflections, and there will be other assignments you're going to be asked to submit too. Click on the assignment. In the top right, you're going to see a submit button. Click on the submit button. That's going to pop open a window. In that window at the top, you'll see 3 tabs. Click on the middle tab, and that's going to create a text box space where you can access space to respond to the assignment. So that's the best way to do it. And I'm aware that Schoology sometimes is slow, especially between the hours of 10 a.m. and usually 2 in the afternoon are the heavy traffic areas. So sometimes you won't even see that button. Be patient, be flexible, don't freak out, do your best. If you never see it and it continues to be a problem and you've restarted your device and you've tried in the early morning and later in the evening, just send me a message. So again, your teachers are expecting to get interaction from you, whether it's doing the assignments. If you're not doing them, you better be messaging your teachers. Otherwise, they're going to be marking you absent. So we will be taking attendance. If you are not showing up online by messaging or doing the assignments, the office is going to be contacting your families and saying, and suspecting that you're having connectivity issues and be reaching out. So please interact with me either by message or doing the assignments. And then lastly, I know some of you have classes where you've had Schoology and have had Google assignments in Schoology. Google and Schoology are just not interacting very well. So just be patient, look for messaging from your teachers about that, and expect some further complications. Just expect that we're going to be having issues as we all learn how to navigate using electronic platforms so much more heavily than any of us have done in the past. All right, those are the Schoology updates. John Prime. So I wanted to share with you, I've been interacting with a lot of families, students, hearing that most everyone really misses the social interaction. And so it had me thinking about my own experiences with social isolation and how it's impacted me, how it's made me more reflective, and how it's caused me really to reach out to a lot of people that I don't always reach out to. And it's had me reflect on people in my life, their personal experiences and the struggles that they're experiencing. My uncle, I would share with the class, he had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and is struggling with that still. And at this time of social distancing, I can't go out and interact with him and be with him and share my love with him. And that's hard for me. And it caused me to reflect on how hard that must be for him too. And so I heard in the news as well recently that John Prime, it's my favorite artist, singer-songwriter, it was recently released that he has come down with COVID-19 and he was put on an incubator and was intubated to assist his breathing. So he is having complications. It's very severe. They released that he is stabilized, but that doesn't mean improving, and it is a very severe situation for someone who I've been listening to since I was a single-digit little kid myself. So even before I understood the lyrics, because he does have some very thoughtful, beautiful lyrics, words. Even before I understood them, they resonated and connected with me. And so I was thinking about all these things, this isolation, and reaching out to people, especially the elderly who are most vulnerable to COVID-19. Um, I've been reaching out to the older people in my life. John Prine, he has this song called "Hello in There." I'm going to play for you now. Again, this is him, 1971. It's an old record. Records, they're still produced now. Uh, they used to be made from wax, so it'd be called, when records would be called wax. So I'm going to be playing this for you on wax. But it's far, far from home. That's the end of a song. Here it goes. And I'm going to be leaning. Oh, that's the wrong side of the album. I'm going to be leaning towards the album because the microphone is in my headphones. So bear with me. We had an apartment in the city. Me and Loretta like living there. Well, it's been years since the kids have grown a life of their own, left us alone. John and Linda live in Omaha. And Joe is somewhere on the road. We lost Davy in the Korean War, and I still don't know what for. Don't matter anymore. You know that old trees just grow stronger, and old rivers grow wilder every day. Old people just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there. Hello. Me and Loretta, we don't talk much more. She sits and stares through the back door screen, and all the news just repeats itself like some forgotten dream that we've both seen. Someday I'll go and call up Rudy. We worked together at the factory. What could I say if he asked what's new? Nothing, what's with you? Nothing much to do. You know that old trees just grow stronger, and old rivers grow
just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there. So if you're walking down the street sometime, spot some hollow ancient eyes, please don't just pass them by and stare, as if you didn't care. Say hello in there.
So again, that's John Prine. Hello in there. And I know I called my uncle. He's not that old. It mentioned those hollow ancient eyes. So those old people that might be lonesome. And I know my uncle isn't that old. He's only 67. That might seem old to you, but he's it's pretty young to be dealing with a life-threatening illness. I called him yesterday. We chatted for a while. We talked about deer hunting and deer sausages that I had for dinner last night, and texted him some pictures from when I was a kid, and he had visited me out in California when my family and I lived out in California when I was only this tall with sun blonde hair, and I know he appreciates that. So, in my experience with interacting with people that are much older than me, elderly, from even when I was little to now, interacting with people that are in their late 70s, 80s, 90s, they've always enjoyed interacting with me when I was young. And even now, they consider me people that are 93. My grandma passed this past October, and I know she loved seeing me. So, on my assignment, I'm putting an assignment in Schoology. It's a bonus assignment. I won't be grading it, but for those that are looking to do something thoughtful, going above and beyond, I have an assignment posted. It's called Bonus Assignment, and it has directions on you reaching out to an elderly person in your life. Maybe it's a grandpa, a great grandpa, a great uncle, whatever, whoever it is. Of course, keep your social distancing, especially with elderly people who are more at risk for COVID-19 and it becoming a serious complication. But have a phone call. Have your folks help you get in touch with those people. I've got some suggested questions, but you know what's best on how to interact with these people in your lives. So follow those directions. Reach out to those elderly people in your lives that would probably appreciate you saying hello in there to them. That's all I've got. I guess I didn't explain it's Friday. I did say it's Friday. I do Aloha Friday from back when I've visited friends in Hawaii. I've been there a few times now, and the friends that I've visited on Friday they always wear their Aloha shirts, and I've even got my Aloha shorts on and my flippy floppies, more to the soccer induced injury from the game of soccer I played with that pickle jar. But all right, that's that bonus assignment. Aloha Friday. Welcome to week 2, chapter 20, Bears of the Ice, Catherine Lasky. I don't want to be a TikTok is the title of this chapter. Stellan and Jait had left Uluk the previous evening just before the red bands started to melt into the darkness of the night. They were now traveling through a sparse wood. Jait looked down at the timepiece. We are at 4 hours and 35 minutes and 10 seconds from our starting point, so we are exactly on the track that Uluk set for us. That's what concerns me, Stellan replied in a worried voice. What do you mean? I mean, maybe he doesn't want us to find our father or the hunting grounds, Jait. Why would you ever say that? Of course he does. There was no of course about it in Stellan's mind. It seemed odd that the strange bear would take such an interest in them. You worry too much, Stellan. Uluk wants to help us. He must know how to get to the hunting grounds. He must have hunted there once. Once. And that had been a long time ago. You saw how skinny he was. You said it yourself. Things could have changed. You're always so suspicious, Stellan. You don't trust anyone. No, you're wrong. I just don't trust Uluk Uluk, Stellan replied calmly. Jite clenched her teeth. She was fuming inside, but they had promised each other that night that when Lago left that they would not fight again. Still, not fighting was harder sometimes than fighting. They walked on in icy silence. They were looking for a river that Uluk Uluk promised would not be frozen but would have good fish to eat. The cubs were hungry. The caribou had not stuck to the ribs as Uluk Uluk had promised, but nothing could squelch Jite's excitement as they headed north to find their father. At least 10 times since they had left Uluk Uluk, she had burst out gleefully, "We're really on our way north." And every time she said these words, Stellan thought, something is wrong. We should not have trusted that bear. They were in a short wood, which meant a forest with very small trees because they were so far above the tree line. The cubs had often visited such forests in the summertime when the ice receded. But the short wood looked very different in the winter moons. Snow had transformed the landscape. The trees were so stubby that they disappeared under huge drifts of snow, and so did the streams and rivers. Stellan's stomach growled loudly. Jite sighed. She felt similar rumblings in her own stomach. You know, it's only going to get worse, Stellan said. Why? As we get bigger, our stomachs will get bigger. We'll have to eat more, or else... Or else what? Jite asked irritably. Or else our pelts will hang off us like Uluk Uluks and puddle around our feet. Thank you, Stellan, for reminding me how terrible we'll look soon. Don't get cranky, Jite. Being hungry makes me cranky, and your being such a wet pelt makes me even crankier. Like we use the term wet blanket as a bummer. Well, Jite, being hungry makes some bears dead. It's called starving to death. Jite felt his remaining patience with her brother begin to shred. If it wasn't his hind paw and ruddering problems, it was something else. It was always something with him. He seemed to live to worry. Erskadamus! You swore, Jite. What would Mum think? Mom isn't here to think. She left us, remember? She left us to go off to look for that miserable place. Miserable place? It's the den of forever frost, the place of noble and valiant bears, heroes. Tears began to leak from Stellan's eyes. I don't want a mum or a da that's a hero. I just want a plain mum and da. Jade stomped her foot. They heard a crack. Aye! She screamed. She pulled her foot up. It was drenched. This is the river, Stellan. We found the river. That's a river? Stellan said, looking down. Well, more of a creek than a river, he muttered. So you're saying this isn't a river, Stellan? Look at this. I'm wet up to my knee. Do I have to drown in it to prove that this is the river Uluk Uluk was talking about? Oh, I forgot you wouldn't even be able to save me. Not with your useless hind paws and ruddering. Stellan winced. That was nasty, Jite. Sorry, Jite mumbled, realizing she'd gone too far. In truth, it was a creek tucked snugly under billows of snow. The ice wasn't that thick, and underneath they found barely moving winter sleep fish. The fish were easy to catch, and the cubs ate until finally Jite announced, "One more fish, and I'll grow scales." Suddenly they heard a noise, a raw voice carried by the wind. "What is that?" Stellan whispered. "Shh, it's coming this way." They listened a few more seconds. It was the familiar, snuffy little whines of distress. The words, garbled at first, became clearer. I don't want to be a tick-tock. I don't want to be... The words tick-tock scratched at the back of Jite's mind. She had heard those words before. But where? It's a cub, Jite, Stellan said anxiously. It's in trouble. A figure staggered toward them in the milky light of a half-moon. Third! Stellan exclaimed. It can't be! Jite's voice was thick with wonder. But it is! Stellan bounded over to the little fellow and crouched down. Climb up, Third. Climb up on my back. I'll carry you over to some fish. Remember what their names used to be? The scrawny cub tried to climb up, but slipped off with a low moan. Hey, here, Third, Jite said. I'll help you up onto Stellan's back. She had forgotten how small young cubs were, and Third was even smaller. Jite began stripping off the flesh of the leftover fish and feeding him small bits. Open your mouth, Third. That's it. Yeah, I know. Different from Mum's milk. I have a feeling he hasn't had much of Mum's milk lately, Stellan said. Third looked at them, blinking, while he swallowed. In between bites, he kept repeating, No, no tick-tock. I don't want to be a tick-tock. Gradually, the foggy, uh, the foggy glaze that filled his eyes began to clear. Stellan leaned in closer. Third, you know us, don't you? We were fourth and fifth. No, he said quietly. You were first and second. He paused. No tick-tock. A frightened look came into his eyes, and the tiny cub fell back into a faint. I'm going to pause there. This is a pretty long chapter. I looked ahead. So we'll pause there and we'll finish up that chapter on day 2's video. So don't forget, I made a bonus assignment. It won't be graded, but I think it's a very thoughtful thing for you to do, to think about those people in your life, especially the elderly people in your life, and how they might feel isolated and how they might really enjoy a phone call. Or maybe a Zoom or a Google Meet. I know we're all using different apps to reach out to those people in our lives. So great to see everybody. Don't hesitate to give me a email, and I'll give you a call if you want, if that's okay with your families. It's fun chatting with the people I've chatted with. So be well, everybody. Stay healthy and get outside and go for a walk and play around while keeping social distancing, of course.